Wanna go closer. Wanna go closer. Baby. Wanna be closer, taking my heart.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see some ones in the chat if the audio is good, if you guys can hear me. We're gonna get things started. All right, seeing some ones in here. Good. All right. Alright, cool. Alright, so people can hear me. Alright, that is awesome. And for this one, I am just going to turn the music off. Alright, usually we got the music playing in the background, but you know what? For this one, we're just not going to do any music. Only because I've been having some issues. I haven't been getting copyright strikes or anything, though, but every time I do like a live stream, it's always been, it's always kind of been like, hey, yeah, you got some music in the freaking video, and so we gotta let you know, copyright, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so we're just not gonna do music in this live stream, but let's get things started, ladies and gentlemen. Going to live cam right now. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Regularjosh1 stream. How's everybody doing? How we all feeling today? All right, let me say hi to a couple of folks back there. What am I talking about? You guys are on the computer. I'm not in a theater. Not like, hey, you, all the way back over there. How you? That's not what we're doing. Oh man, but hey, guys, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? All right, let's see. Let me say hi to a couple of people. Kawaii Life, Antonio, Dorothy, Scepter Wolf. I'm bad at names sometimes. Your mom, Cartoon Fan, Mikey 19, Mason Wrigley, Shane, Gary the Editor, Nick, Bucks Doodle Ames. I think that's how you say your name. I don't know. Zach History Notes. Mekai the Vampire Loud, I think. Gillian, I don't think I said Gillian. Mark Jones, Walking Dead USA. I think that is about every Alter Ego Bro. Welcome, ladies. Oh yeah, Huan Chandler, I think. Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. It's Skeptor, like the name of a cane. Okay, I wish I knew what that is, but I am not a smart man, so forgive me. Anthony Morris says, I'm just finishing work. Hey, nice. I'm glad you were able to join the stream. It's a little late. Well, it's going to be late for some of you guys. I'm sure some of you guys are probably on the East Coast, so it's 9 o'clock. So, yeah, I've had a pretty eventful, well, I can't say I've had too much of an eventful day today, but yeah, today, I did, a recording session for the show that I'm a part of, so that's definitely exciting. So yeah, I was able to sing, I think I sung 5 songs, I believe, so it was pretty cool. So, so yeah, I did that. That took about, roughly about 2 hours or so. Yeah, dude, and Shane says it is 9 p.m. for me. Yeah, that's what I thought. I figured that some of you guys would be on the East Coast. I don't know how many people are on the West Coast. That's also why I tend to schedule my videos early, because I try to have it be say, usually around my time, it's 8 o'clock when my videos usually go up, so that'll be 11 o'clock when the videos are on. So I kind of try to play for that and, what have you. So, yeah, but yeah, that was pretty cool. I was able to do my, recording session earlier today. We start filming basically technically in 2 weeks, because we're not filming next week. It's the week after next week is when we're filming. And again, want to preface this is not a SAG-AFTRA show. I am not a SAG member, so we are cleared to do filming of this show, which is good, of course. Even though they could be SAG, but even if they were SAG, it would be a different, which they were talking about. They were telling me about that before I left. Was that that the SAG-AFTRA, if this production were to be SAG, it would just be under a different kind of contract, because it is technically new media, and because of that, it would still be able to be performed on, because of the fact that it wouldn't be under the contract that the other SAG companies like Disney and what have you, it wouldn't be under the same contract, and it's not considered like one of the it's also not part of the AMPTP. I'm not doing anything for any particular company that's under any AMPTP right now, which is the American Association, or I think it's the Association of Movie, Television, and Motion Picture Producers, or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, so just letting y'all know, I am not scabbing. That is the last thing I would ever do. I would never ever want to scab at all, because damn, it's sad. Let's talk about this for a little second. All right, it's sad that the WGA. I'm happy that the WGA, which is the Writers Guild, they were able to get their a deal with the studios, essentially, and so they're back to work, which is freaking awesome. I'm happy that they were able to get a deal, and it's unfortunate that the actors were not able to get a deal. We all thought that's the crazy part of all this, is that we all thought that like the Actors Guild was going to be able to get a deal with the studios. You know what I mean? Like that. We all thought that after the writers were to get a deal, the actors were going to get a deal as well. And so the fact that the CEOs of these studios kind of just walked away from the negotiation table. And also I want to point out that apparently the studios offered a deal that was way worse than what they were going in with before the actors started striking. I want you guys to think about that for a second. The studios said, hey, we're going to give you guys a much worse deal than what we originally were going to offer you that caused you to strike. And now that you guys are coming back to the negotiation table, we're going to give you something way worse. I mean, seriously, think about that. That is literally insane. And so now we thought that the industry was going to get back to work, because we thought the studios would be smart enough to give the actors most of what they were asking for, at least just give them a good deal. But they said, nah, we're not going to do that. Let me turn that down a little bit. It might be a little bit too loud. But yeah, they said, nah, we're not going to give them we're not going to give them a good deal, essentially. So, yeah, that's exactly like as what your mom just said. That is a bunch of BS. It is. Like, it's insane to me. And so now, because the studios are so concerned about getting the actors and everybody back to work in the industry, they're not giving us a deal. And so now, and I say us as if like I'm part of the union, but I am an actor regardless. So of course I'm going to be on the side of the actors, and I'm going to be a part of the union eventually. I'm fairly sure of it. I am SAG eligible, since I did do a show that is obviously a SAG-AFTRA show. I did a show, but I didn't have to be a part of the union. I just became SAG eligible to be able to do that show. But yeah, but obviously, now since actors are not getting a deal, the industry is still stumped. I mean, there's some shows that are able to come back, like say the nighttime talk show hosts and whatnot, but in terms of like movies and television shows, there's nothing that you can't do anything because you don't have actors. So yeah, man, it's crazy. It is crazy to me. But you know what? Studio executives, I think we can clearly see, are idiots. And so it is what it is. I don't know what else I really necessarily need to say in this regard, but studio executives, specifically CEOs, are dumbasses. And like, I don't know what else I need to say. And the worst part is that us actors can't, well, some of us can. Like, I'm still non-union, so I'm still able to get work anywhere else. Like, again, I have a job somewhere, so that's good. But also, I could do independent films. I can do student films. I can, do that stuff. I can do a web series that's not backed by any of these big studios. A lot of people who are SAG, they cannot do that if they're still, because obviously, if you're SAG, you have to only do SAG productions. If you're a SAG member, you cannot do a non-union production. So you're kind of stuck as well. I mean, you can do certain things. There are some stuff that actors that are part of the union are still able to do, But in terms of like, the thing is, they just don't have an alternative. Like, we could say, oh, screw Disney, screw Paramount, screw Warner Brothers Discovery, screw Universal, screw Netflix, screw Apple TV, and all that stuff, right? We can say screw every single one of them and say we'll never work with them again. But at the same time, those are like literally almost the only options you have in order to be able to still have these kinds of, to be able to perform in these kinds of shows and also get paid doing these things. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not a great situation, but you know what? It is what it is. But yeah, so that's my thoughts, and I guess you could say that's my rant on that. Screw these studios, okay? Like, you guys are making billions of dollars every single year, and you can't even give actors like 2% of that revenue. That's all we're asking for, just 2% of the revenue. 2% of the revenue, and you can't even, like, it's dumb. But yeah, also, you know what, even then, like, I kind of should have titled the stream this, I guess, but one of the things that I definitely wanted to talk about, and I saw a couple of people in the chat kind of mentioning this, was the whole situation that's going on with animation right now, like, say, with Netflix and DreamWorks specifically. And I'm most likely still going to make a I'm most likely still going to make a video about it, most probably. Like, I may go in a little bit more depth about what's going on, right? But if you guys don't know, recently, DreamWorks said that they're going to essentially move to stop doing, like, in-house animation for their, I'm guessing for their shows and movies and whatnot. And, excuse me. And what they're going to do is now look for third-party animation studios to essentially work, to essentially do their work. And that's the same thing that I think Netflix is also doing. I think Netflix is going to stop doing, like, in-house animation or something like that. And they're going to look towards doing more third-party animation studios to do their work, which is crazy. Yep, big ass water bottle, I know. But hey, it gives me a lot of water, so I don't have to constantly, like, filling in a lot. That the water bottle, that helps me out a lot when I'm, like, out of the house and doing stuff, because again, that's a lot of water it holds, so I don't have to, you know. But the thing about Netflix, which kind of makes it a little worse than, say, DreamWorks at this moment, is just more so the fact that there's two shows, and I'm pretty sure this is going to sound very familiar with a certain company, even with Netflix, I think they did that too, but there's two shows that are in pre-production, I think, or is it pre-production or post-production? I don't fully remember, and Netflix just basically said, yeah, you're done. We're canceling you. And, yeah, so their two shows are now legitimately just canceled, and now those are just dead. Because, again, moving to third-party studios, and, yeah, basically so they can save money. Which, look, I get it slightly, considering the fact that, again, these studios have been losing millions and millions of dollars when it came to the strike because they can't generate a lot of money right now, right? Because there's not a lot of movies they can release. They can't really release any new series right now, or they can't release any new seasons of any television show. So there's not really much that they can do, you know? So they've just been losing a lot of money. But still, like, it's just not, it's not a good look at all, you know? It's kind of sad to particularly see that this is what's happening right now in the animation world. And because of that, now you have people who are in the animation guild, right? Which their contract runs out next year. And so they're already planning on striking, okay? Because they don't have, like, a great deal when it comes to the studios. Like, if you are an animator, I don't think you get paid that well. And you also get worked a ton. You get worked to the bone, you know, when you're working on any sort of animation show, which is very, it just sucks. But then also, if you write on any animation show that is under the Animation Guild, you get paid significantly less compared to people in the Writers Guild that write for live action shows. I think that's stupid. I think anyone that's a writer should be getting a certain amount of... I mean, writing is writing at the end of the day. And yes, it's different. You know, and writing for an animation show compared to writing for a live action show is different. I know that. But still, it's writing. You know what I mean? Like, it's... Writing is writing. So, like, they should still be getting paid a good amount. You know? Like, the fact that they get paid way less than their live action counterparts is... It just makes no sense. It's stupid. Again, Hollywood, as much as I want to work in this industry as an actor, it's a dumb industry. Like, it is a dumb industry, man. And I'm glad these strikes happened because it makes you kind of look a little bit more into, like, what's exactly going on within the industry, how things work. And it's been able to help them out more, like, especially with the writers, because... You know, you'd think that, like, the writers were getting paid, like, a ton of money to do a lot of stuff. You think, or there's this conception that you'd think that, like, anyone that works in Hollywood, like, writers and directors and producers and actors, like, every single one of them is rich, and that's not true. You know, there's a ton of actors that are working within the industry that don't really make a lot of money, especially when it comes to residuals and all that stuff. So, you know, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing when it comes to this industry, but... Yeah, I'm just hoping, for one, I'm glad that the writers got a good deal, because they also voted to, basically approve of this new deal, and 99% of the people said yes to that, so that means that it was a good deal for the writers. So, I'm hoping that the actors can get a deal soon. I don't know when. We have no idea when they're going to go back to the negotiation table. But the studios cannot survive without actors, you know, because, I mean, if that were the case, they would have already been doing a lot of, like, AI stuff, but they can't. They're not. So there's literally not really much that they can do. So hopefully the actors can get back to the negotiation table with AMPTP as soon as they can, or the AMPTP calls back to the actors, because, you know, it's the studios that kind of have to, you know, make a better deal. And also, hopefully next year when the Animation Guild goes to basically start striking, hopefully they can get a better deal for the next contract. And so, you know, just fairness all around when it comes to the studio. I mean, not the studios, but yeah, fairness all around when it comes to people working in this industry, because, you know, this industry makes way too much money to be as stingy as they are. So it's just something that needs to change. So yeah, again, I probably will end up making a video about that. That most likely will be my next video. So I think that's gonna be next week, most likely. I mean, well, it's gonna have to be next week, because again, the week after next week is when I'm doing the filming for the show, and I'm not gonna be able to have time because I'm probably gonna be in a hotel, staying down near the studio, just so I don't have to do that crazy drive all the way down. It's the place that I'm filming is past Disneyland, and Disneyland is like about a 30-minute drive, you know, give or take, and that's without traffic. So it's kind of far. I mean, it's not too far, but I have, like, early days. Like, I'm not used at working at, like, 8 o'clock in the morning, because I haven't had a job like that in a long time, so, you know, I kind of have to get used to that sometimes. And so when it comes to traffic and me having to, like, wake up very early in the morning as well, it can take some time to get used to that, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so expect a video, possibly, next week, but I'm gonna definitely try my hardest to come out with a video next week when it comes out to that. And there might be another topic. Gary, the editor, he wants me to do 2 videos, and I think it's because, you know, we haven't been posting a lot recently, which sucks, but again, I've been pretty busy. Alex has also been pretty busy as well. I mean, again, I don't want to talk about his situation because it's a whole mess when it comes to a certain part of his family, and, you know, so I don't want to really get into that. Unless he wants to talk about it in the chat, but that would be like freaking 5 paragraphs. So, yeah. But either way, dude, like, yeah. So, I don't know what else to necessarily say in that regard, but, that's, where I'm at in that situation there. But yeah, so that is about all I have to say. So I think we can go. Oh, now you know what? I made a community post. I mean, I was talking about like the live stream and why I wasn't here and da da da. And then I mentioned something about like possibly doing something for Halloween. So that I don't know. So I might and then I might not. I'm not 100% sure when it comes to that though. But I mean, maybe I could talk about it. Maybe later. I don't know. But it really depends. But yeah, so there's that situation. So yeah, so I'm gonna start, answering some of you guys's, some of your, questions, if you guys have any questions, or any topics that you might want to talk about. And of course, if I have any interest in those topics, or if I have anything to say about said topic, I'll talk. Like, for example, Zeep the Walkie says, anyone hear about Tara Strong getting canceled on Twitter X? Yeah, that one's crazy. I never expected that. Apparently it has something to do with, like, the current, like, war that's going on between, Israel and Palestine, or Gaza, or something like that. And I think she's leaning onto one side, and a lot of people are not necessarily happy about that. I do not have any, like, real opinions on, like, what the hell's going on, or the complicated history of why they're at war and all that stuff, so I've never really said anything about what's going on, you know. The fact that all of this is happening, you know, is definitely, like, very sad to see all of this and, you know, see, like, everything that's been going on. But I just, like, never really said anything about it because, like, yeah, it's, to me, it's kind of just not worth it because, you know, I don't have much of, excuse me, I don't have much, what am I trying to say? I don't have much, knowledge as to what's going on, and so I'm not really going to, you know, I'm not really gonna say much, I guess, because kind of want to stay away from that, so it's a whole thing. Let's see, Dorothy says, not sure either, it's, none of my business, even if it's very upsetting. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. It has, you know, again, I'll just say it. It's a shitty situation, you know. Like, I'm trying to keep things fairly PG when I'm talking here. But it's just not a great situation. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen a couple of videos that's been posted on Twitter, and I have to kind of click off of that because it's not stuff I want to see. It's depressing, and some of it's graphic, and it's like, God, you know. So it's a whole thing. But you know, yeah. Quiet says I prefer to stay away from that too. Yeah, it's yeah. You know, especially considering, not to say I have any issues, but let's just say that after a while of, like, seeing a bunch of, like, depressing stuff on the news, or a bunch of vitriolic stuff from, you know, like, say, political parties and da-da-da-da-da, I just tend to just, like, stay off the news cycle, right? Like, I don't look at the news on television, or, like, even, like, say, when the 2020 presidential election was happening, when that happened, after a while, I was just like, I just need to just block all of this because, like, I was just not, it was becoming too much for me. And I was like, I can't be around that anymore. It's just, mentally, for me, it wasn't doing well, you know? It was like, I'm gonna vote, and then I'm just gonna stay out of it. I'm not gonna listen to anything else. I'm not gonna watch any of the debates, blah, 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 blah. I'm just gonna stay away from it. You know what I mean? Like, it's mentally taxing to see all this stuff, you know what I mean? And, you know, so, like, and sometimes it's a whole thing. But again, I choose to kind of just stay out of it because it's definitely not necessarily something that I have, you know, I don't have any knowledge on it, so I'm just, yeah. just again, regardless, it's just a sad thing that it is happening. So yeah. Okay. Phone. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and ask any kind of questions, or again, talk about any particular topic. Kawaii Life, Antonio says, so Josh, are you excited? Oh, quick. Shane says politics suck. Politics completely sucks. 100%, man. Like, I freaking hate politics. Let's just say that, okay? Yeah. Kawaii, though, says, so Josh, are you excited for Once Upon a Studio? You know, honestly, like, I haven't really ever had, like, that much of a want, I guess. I mean, well, maybe not a want, though. I guess, like, I know of Once Upon a Studio is going to be premiering very soon on Disney Plus to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Disney. I just haven't really been, like, you know, I haven't been like, oh, man, when it comes out, I'm definitely going to see it. I may check it out, but it's just, I don't know, like, it's very cool to see that they're paying homage to, like, a lot of the animated movies and, I guess, shows, or is it just movies? Think movies, that they've made over the course of 100 years, and that's pretty awesome. There was a, I talked about it in the last stream, but there was a show called Wondrous Journeys at Disneyland, and it was a fireworks show, but it also had projections. Had projections on the Main Street buildings and projections on the castle. And basically, like, what they were doing was also kind of celebrating the 100 years of, like, animated films that Disney's come out with. And so you had, like, all of these, like, projections, again, on the buildings on Main Street and on the castle. And it would kind of have, like, you know, scenes from all of these movies kind of play into a lot of these songs. And they did it so well. It's an amazing show, and it has to come back after the Christmas season. I'm definitely gonna be going to Disneyland for the Christmas season. Yeah. Excuse me. Let me get some water. Whew. Yeah, excuse me. I think my voice is, to be honest, I think my voice is a little tired because when I did the singing earlier, one of the last songs I did, I had to kind of just like really do a bunch of, like, I had to like really sing like a big number essentially. So I think, and now I got the hiccups. Great. But now I think, yeah, so my voice might be a little tired. But either way, to answer to answer your question, I don't know if I can necessarily say I'm excited for Once Upon a Studio, but it definitely is something that I would like to check out. Because again, it is kind of cool to see them kind of pay homage to like all of the animated films, or at least a majority of the animated films that they made over the course of 100 years. And so that's going to be very cool, especially seeing hand-drawn animation kind of making a comeback, you know, in this style, which is great because Disney does an incredible job when it comes to hand-drawn animation, and they really need to bring back hand-drawn animated movies. You know, like I don't know why they don't, but they should. Your mom says you look tired. Yeah, it's been kind of a long day. You know what I mean? Again, I had to do like I was doing like a vocal recording session, which you may think is not tiring, but it can be because, you know, you're kind of like, I guess you can say you're kind of exerting your voice and whatnot. And again, the last song that I sung, and I did this on purpose because I knew that I had to like really sing it, and like I was hitting some high notes and da 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 da. So it was like a lot of, you know, a lot of stuff there. But also I did just kind of get finished with like watering the plants outside, which I have like 2 giant garden spiders in my backyard. So yeah, that kind of spooked me. And you know what? It makes sense. It makes sense. It's Halloween season. Usually I get spiders like that around Halloween season, which is very ironic as well. So I used to have like a tree in the front yard. And I have like this street lamp, that's like right in our, basically in our front yard, right? And usually around that time, we don't have that tree anymore, so we don't have this issue. But when it would be like around Halloween, almost all the time, we would get like a giant spider web connecting from that lamp to that tree, and we would always have like a giant spider that sometimes would have like an hourglass kind of like pattern on its abdomen, right? I don't know what kind of spiders those are, but we would almost always get those kind of spiders. So now they're kind of like in my backyard. They're not really camping out in the front yard. But again, it kind of works, or it worked at the time because, you know, Halloween. So yeah, so it would be kind of like, I guess you could say it was authentic Halloween decorations, you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's kind of been yeah, it's been interesting. So yeah, that's kind of why I probably look a little tired because truthfully, like I was kind of doing some things around the house, which was also why I did kind of start a little later than I intended. So that, yeah, because I was kind of also like trying to rush as well, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, I was just definitely trying to say, oh my god, okay, I gotta water the plants, and then I gotta do this. Okay, now I gotta set up the stream, and then blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. Just a little tired. So, yeah, but we are all good. We are all here. And yeah, so, that's basically the whole situation there. Okay, let's see. Mason Wrigley, the Phineas and Ferb revival is probably supposed to come out in 2024. Yeah, it's most likely going to be coming out in 2024. If anything, I think that show, because they are currently recording vocals for that. Actors are able to work on those shows. So it's a different contract, so they are able to work on the Phineas and Ferb show. And I think some actors are also under the Animation Guild. I think if you're a voice actor, like specifically just a voice actor, I don't think you're a SAG-AFTRA. No, you might be. I'm not sure. I'm not fully sure how that works, but you might be in the Animation Guild, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, yeah, Phineas and Ferb has, you know, they've been recording episodes. There was a clip of Dan Povenmire, I think that's how you say his last name, which, if you guys don't know, I actually met Dan Povenmire earlier this year at a showing of Beetlejuice the Musical, which was so unexpected. It was the coolest thing ever. Yeah, and the funny part about this, right, with the whole Phineas and Ferb and me meeting Dan Povenmire, is that the show that I'm doing, one of the episodes that I'm in, actually was written by one of the writers that worked. I said previously she worked on Phineas and Ferb because that's what they told me, but actually that's not true. She worked on Milo Murphy's Law, which still, you know, like, that's still pretty cool. It's still, Dan Povenmire still created that and voiced a character in it. Voiced a couple of characters. I think Doofenshmirtz was also in that episode, I believe. I mean, not in the episode, but in the series at some point. But yeah, either way, it's still cool. It's like, how am I getting these connections? It's nuts. But yeah, either way, but with Phineas and Ferb, like, I think that's going to be coming out. Most likely it's going to be coming out later on in 2024. And if not, then probably early 2025. I doubt it's going to be that long, but again, I would say the second half of 2024, you're definitely going to see the Phineas and Ferb revival coming out on Disney+. I'm excited for that, honestly. Yeah, but what I was mentioning, though, was that there was a clip, I think I saw it on Twitter, where Dan Povenmire, like, recorded the first line for Dr. Doofenshmirtz in that new season. And when I saw that, like, that just made me smile ear to ear. I was like, oh, I am so excited. Let's go. I am excited to see Phineas and Ferb coming back. Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you guys are excited to see Phineas and Ferb making a comeback. So yeah. Yeah, so just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Damn, just lost, let's see, okay, let's see, If they can shut down Disney Channel and Cartoon Network, then Nickelodeon will stay, and no shows of there will. Nah, that's definitely not gonna happen. Like, they're not gonna shut down two of their two kid channels, and Nickelodeon's gonna be the only one. There's no way that that's gonna happen. Like, it's just not. Most of Disney Junior's shows are CGI. Yeah, that's definitely true. I think the only 2D show, which is not even Disney's, but they're kind of licensing it, but of course they're gonna keep it. But Bluey, I think, is the only show on Disney Junior that is currently 2D animated. Not 2D hand-drawn animated, but that doesn't matter. Just 2D animated in general, which is great. It's an amazing show. I don't know what else I need to say. I've said it plenty of times on this channel, but it's an incredible show. But yeah, most shows, and I think I saw somebody else kind of mention. Yeah, Jonathan says preschool channels nowadays don't even do live action shows. That's true. They don't. You used to have shows like The Wiggles or, Yo Gabba Gabba. I think Yo Gabba Gabba is still going to be coming back sometime. I forgot. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be coming back. What else did they have? The Doodle Bops. I guess you could technically consider Blue's Clues, because it is using a live-action host, but he is in a cartoon world, so it's kind of a mix. But yeah, a lot of them don't do live-action shows, which is kind of a surprise to me, considering that live-action shows are cheaper to make. They just are, because animation, it's a lot of labor, it takes a long time, so it's way more expensive to do animation, right? So it kind of surprises me that they're doing a lot of animated shows for these preschool shows or preschool channels, but not really a lot of live action shows. Now, we might see that eventually come. Well, I don't know. But it could just be the trend that kids just like seeing more colorful CGI animation. That's probably what it is, maybe. Video Bird 300 says, that's called a Black Widow, the black spider with a red hourglass on it. Yeah, I do know about those, but that's not the spider that we have in our backyard. I don't think I've ever seen a Black Widow spider around the house. I don't think so. The one that we have is kind of brown color, and sometimes it kind of has like spots on all of its legs. So yeah, I'm not sure which spider it is, but it's definitely not a black spider. It's not a Black Widow. So, yeah. Skeptor Wolf says, "Hey Josh, if you had to go had a time machine, what year would you go back to?" Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, like it's kind of the first one that, well, it wasn't exactly the first one, but it was the biggest one that came to mind. If I had a time machine to go back, I would go back to last year. And the reason why I would go back to last year is so I could still spend some time with the certain person in the family that I lost, I'm not gonna say that this year has been rough. I still miss her deeply. I think about her every single time. But yeah, like, I would go back in time to last year, so she would still be here with me. You know what I mean? Cause look, I'm doing good. You know what I mean? I'm doing good. Like, again, I have this job. I'm still got this house, everything like that, though. But like, I would much rather that she's still here with me than me being able to have a lot, I mean, it would be good if she was still here and I was still able to do all of these things. You know what I mean? But yeah, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, so that, I guess that kind of answers your question, is I would just have a time machine and go to last year so I could see her again. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's see. I think I'm going to skip a little forward. Drew says, I feel ya. Oh shit, someone died, didn't they? Yeah, that was last year. Actually, it's almost been an entire year since her passing. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And and it sucks that it happened the week before Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? And what really sucked about it was that she wanted to spend Thanksgiving with me. We were gonna go to New York, and do like a very cool trip. Yeah, that just did not pan out because she passed. So yeah, that was definitely one of, if not the worst moment of my entire life. I'm not gonna get into it because, it's not something that I like to, not something that I like to think about. I don't like picturing it either. It's just not, yeah, it's rough. But either way, excuse me. But either way, yeah. So that's kind of, again, that's why I would go to last year. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Randall says we still have New York. Yeah. Your mom says at least she's in your heart. She absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Like, look, when I talk about her, like, say sometimes I just will just start speaking out loud, and I'll start kind of like talking about like the kind of person she was, who, the memories we've had and everything like that. Like, it definitely doesn't make me sad to talk about her. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me pretty happy because it's like, I'm just grateful that she was in my life. I was part of her life, and just all of the things that she's been able to do for me, just like incredible, And so with everything that I do, I definitely feel her, her love, you know what I mean, inside. So trust me, like, it's still rough, to think about the fact that like she's no longer here. But again, at the same time, I know that she's like watching over me and everything, and I still feel that every single day. So yeah. Randall says we still have New York. Yeah, we do. I have no idea when the hell I'm going back to New York. I have no idea when I'm going to be going back to New York. I don't know when I'm even going to do any other kind of like trip. I want to take a cruise. I've only done a cruise once, and that was like in 2011, and it was the last week of 2011, and we were going into 2012, and that was probably like one of the coolest New Year's celebrations I've ever had. That was really cool. But yeah, I would love to do a cruise again. That would probably be like one of the more affordable trips that I could do, because there's like a couple of cruises that I could do that would that come out of LA, or at least in Long Beach, and I would literally just need like maybe a couple of days or 3 days on a cruise ship just to be able to have the feeling of being on a cruise. Because it's so fun to be on a cruise ship. Like, you get a lot, when you do, like, say, the buffets over there, the food's free. The only thing that they technically charge you for when it comes to, like, food is the sodas. And there's just, like, a lot of things that you can do on a cruise. And so I really miss that. And so I would love to be able to do that. So, yeah. Kawaii Life, Antonio says there's also Lou in the Bally Bunch, which doesn't have a U.S. premiere date. And I guess Jessica's Big Little World counts. I guess they're talking about preschool shows when they mention that. Yeah, Lou and the Bally Bunch. Again, the company that I think produces it still mentions that it is going to be coming to Cartoonito in the U.S. So we don't know when it's coming. They said soon, so I'm gonna just assume it's going to be coming like sometime next year. And speaking of Cartoonito and Cartoon Network in general, I think that might be another video that I talk about. I did say earlier this week that I didn't necessarily want to make a video about Cartoon Network, but I might. Mainly kind of just to talk about, like, say, with the current time slots that we have right now, with Cartoonito only being 90 minutes and Cartoon Network going to get 5 p.m. and yada, yada, yada. Like, I'm wondering if that's only just temporary. You know what I mean? Like, because let's say Cartoon Network gets a good slew of new shows next year. We don't know if that's going to happen, and it could. But let's say if it does, can they still end at 5 p.m. with all the new shows that they would get if it's coming next year? That's kind of what I want to talk about in the new video. And same with Cartoonito. If Cartoonito is going to be getting some new shows, are they going to only be able... Would would they have to expand? You know what I mean? So that would kind of just mean, like if Cartoon Network were to, like, say, gain their hours back, that would just kind of mean they would push Checkered Past to a later time slot, I think. Again, this is only speculation, but that's something I want to talk about in a video, so I'm going to leave it at that. So that could be a video I come up with next week as well. I don't know. We'll see. So, Alex, if you're still watching this this stream right now, there's 2 video ideas that I came out with. So we'll see if we can make that happen, for next week. There was somebody that kind of asked me a question about, like, what I was going to do for Halloween. Halloween, like, if you're talking about, like, what I'm gonna do on this channel for Halloween, what I'm kind of thinking about doing is, like, maybe, like, an audio kind of drama kind of thing, where it would just be me. I might want to possibly get Alex in on this too, though, but I'm not quite sure. But either way, like, I'm kind of thinking of doing somewhat of, like, a audio drama kind of mystery thing. It would be a short one. It wouldn't be, like, 20 minutes or 30 minutes long. It would be, like, maybe 10 minutes long or something. Probably more like 5 minutes, maybe shorter than that. I don't know. But excuse me. But that is, you know, that's a possibility. I'm not 100% sure. It would be kind of cool to do something like that, though. But it was kind of something that I just thought of. Mainly because, like, I kind of want to get back into doing voice acting work. I haven't done it in a while. And so that is something that I'm thinking about. And also, I've done a podcast series. And so I would like to kind of get back into doing those as well, because those are kind of cool to do. They're a lot of fun to to perform. Let's see here. Cartoon fan says, I am seeing Paw Patrol the Mighty movie on Sunday. Are you going to make a review on that? Yeah, I probably should do a review of Paw Patrol the Mighty movie, because I did a review of the first one, so it would make sense to do a review of the second one. I have yet to see it. Again, I'm still not really 100% sure if I want to see it in theaters. Like, I think it would be cool to see it in theaters, but I don't know. I'm a little self-conscious about that. Like, you know, which, again, it's a little ironic that I say that, because I went to the Bluey big play that was at the Dolby Theater, which is actually coming back next year, and I might want to see it again. It was a very cute show, so I might want to see it again. But yeah, I don't know. I might go see the Paw Patrol movie eventually. I'm just not really that much of a, like, movie theater kind of guy. Or I'm not that much of a movie guy in general. So you have to have, like, something has to, like, really, really, really pull me out to say, hey, we're gonna go ahead and this is a great movie. It's gonna have to really pull me in order for me to really say I'm gonna see that in theaters. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a whole thing there. But yeah, I might see the movie in theaters. I am not 100% sure. Carter says, I would love to do a cruise ship too. I think, like, if you're able to, you definitely should. I would like to do a Disney cruise, but those are so expensive because it's Disney. Everything is freaking expensive. So there you go. Yeah, but I just miss doing a cruise. I've only done a cruise ship one time, but I really, really, really miss it. And, you know, there's some affordable cruise ships out there. I mean, well, cruise ships. There's some affordable cruises out there. It would be cool to do it with somebody, but I don't know. You know, like, it really depends. It really depends. But yes, I would 100% love to do another cruise. Boris says, do you live with your dad? I do not have a dad. I was a single child. So, yeah, I do not have a dad. I am adopted. If you don't know, I am adopted. So, I was adopted into a single mother household. So, yeah. And single mother, amazing mother, not like some of the other, well, I'm not going to say all single mothers. There's like a whole thing, you know, where it's like, oh, single mothers are not good parenting and da-da-da-da-da. I'm sure there's some out there that are pretty bad, though, but, you know, definitely not my single mom. My single mom was amazing. So, yeah. I mean, shoot, I am who I am today because of her, so, yeah. Let's see. Okay, let's skip down there. Gary, the editor. Can I tell you? Can I talk to you? Just a little bit. I wish I could zoom the camera so I can really speak to you. But you're telling me that I should review Turning Red. You know damn well that is not going to happen. You know damn well I am not going to see that movie. You know damn well I am not going to watch that movie. We've talked about this. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. You troll me sometimes, man. It's crazy. Oh gosh. That's crazy. um Damn, somebody just straight out said it. Wolf says Turning Red sucks. Look, I'm not gonna say it sucks. I haven't seen the movie, but God, I can't watch that movie. I'll do what I want whenever. No, I can't. No, I can't do it. Can't do it. Abso-flipping-lutely not. Well, dang, Josh, that's sad. Is it, which part, was sad? That I don't have a father? I never really, my whole, like, situation with the whole, like, adoption thing, like, I know that there's, like, a lot of kids out there, or a lot of people that probably would be my age, where they, were adopted, and it's kind of, like, not really a great, story. For me, or like, it's kind of depressing for them, you know what I mean, that they're adopted. Like, they're not exactly happy that they're adopted. For me, like, that's never been the situation, you know what I mean? Like, I knew that I was getting adopted at that very young age, and when it came to my mother, right, like, when we were, like, first introduced with each other, she kind of met me at my foster family's, who is not my god family now. She came at my foster family's house, and we kind of both just, like, instantly connected. You know what I mean? She would take me to, like, certain places, and we just instantly bonded. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of that moment, and when they kind of gave me, like, the decision to whether I wanted to be her son or not, I said, yes, please, let me live with her. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so trust me, the whole adoption, it wasn't like, man, I can't believe that you didn't tell me that I was adopted. I hate you. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. And I know that there's a lot of people who, when they are adopted, they have that kind of story where, like, they never knew that they were adopted. They found out that, the parents are not their real parents and everything. That was not my situation. I knew when I was, when did I start? When I first started? I first started living with her when I was 5. So, when I was, like, 5 years old, I already knew what was going on when it came to the adoption, because the other two siblings that I had, well, they were my foster siblings, I guess, at the time. And now they're I got a god brother and a god sister, and they both got adopted by the other parents, right? And it wasn't that, like, the parents didn't want to necessarily adopt. It wasn't like they didn't like me or anything. There was just, at the time, there was, like, certain worries that they had, because it was a white family. My god sister is a Pacific Islander, and, the mother, the father, and the son are all white. But I think she just had, like, a little worry as to, adopting a black child, mainly because she was just worried about, like, I think she had, like, certain concerns, which, which made sense, like, and I think she was probably, like, a little worried of, like, not being able to, like, handle certain situations that might come up later in life, or might come up now when, me being a little black boy or something. I don't know, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like she didn't want to adopt me, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, we gotta get this guy out of here. It wasn't that at all. Because if that was the case, I would not have any contact with her now. You know what I mean? Yeah, we still have, like, great contact with each other. We still, like, every single time we see each other, like, they come back down to LA sometimes, because now they live in Montana. And it's all, we're always, like, very excited and happy to see each other and everything like that. And my god sister, she does live down here now, which I haven't seen her since Easter. We had, like, a Easter dinner together. So I have to like, at least definitely before the end of the year, we gotta meet up with each other again. But yeah, but when I was living with them, like eventually those other two, they got adopted. I think they got like adopted at different times, and so when I knew that that was happening to them, I knew that it was going to happen to me eventually. And then mom came into the situation, and then it's like, okay, so adoption. We know, you know what I mean? I knew what was going on. So yeah, so it wasn't like I was, again, wasn't like I was depressed or anything, or I was never like, hey, so if I'm adopted by you, where's daddy? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was never like that. All I cared about was that I was living with her now because of just how amazing she was, So, yeah, so trust me, it's not a sad adoption story or anything. So, yeah. So, there you go. Dude said it will take a lot of convincing for him to review Turning Red. Good luck. Alex cannot get me to watch Turning Red, and so it's gonna be a hard time for anyone else to get me to to watch that show. Trust me. Bugs Bunny. Hello there, Bugs Bunny. What up, Doc? I just had to do that joke. Sorry. I'll show myself up. Just kidding. Actually, you know what? Let me be right back just very quickly. I'm gonna turn the air conditioning off. All right. Okay. Yeah, so I'll answer that question. What happened to your biological family? Well, I don't know about my dad. I kind of know nothing about him at all. I don't even know if he's still alive. So, I don't really know much. But, when it came to... Now, you're probably wondering why I was set up for adoption, and here's why. My mother, my birth mom, she was a alcoholic, right? Like a fairly heavy alcoholic. Thankfully, she clearly did not drink while she was pregnant, thank goodness, because if she did, I would have had some issues, right? And I don't have those issues. I thought I had those issues when I was like in, I think, junior year or sophomore year in high school, because I was like very, very depressed. I hated myself in high school. And there was a lot of BS that was going on in high school with a specific guy. Holy... I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, but she was an alcoholic, right? And she had, like, I think 2 other children before me. Yeah, I think, like, 2 other children before. I was her last child, right? And so she knew that because of her alcohol addiction, right, she could not take care of me, right? And so because of that, she made that choice to put me up for, put me in foster care so I could have a better life. And so, so that's essentially what happened. So that's why, again, I don't really know much at all about, like, my father or anything. I don't really think about it that much, but when it came to, my birth mother, I do know way more about her. She was, like, way more involved. So, so yeah, she put me in foster care, and of course, like, after me living in, with the foster family for about, like, 2 years, before I got adopted, with my mother, she essentially would kind of come over and visit sometimes just to check up on how I was doing, So again, this is not, this is not a sad story, it's not like, oh, she didn't want me, and so she threw me on, be like, I don't want this baby. Here, you go ahead and take him so somebody else can have. It was not that. She knew that she was not able to take care of me because I don't think she did, a great job taking care of the other kids that she had. And so with me, I was the lucky one, and I was the lucky one, essentially, where she basically said, all right, I'm going to put him in foster care so he can have somebody who can properly take care of him and give him a much better life than what I could provide. So that's essentially what happened. And also, I think around like 2010, 2011 maybe, or maybe sooner than that. I'm not 100% sure, but she did pass away. And I think it had something to do with her. She probably died from like alcohol poisoning or something. I don't know. And my mom was trying to figure that out, like, we didn't necessarily know like what exactly she died from. We just knew that it was like around 2010 she died. And I didn't find that out. Well, we didn't find that out until like 2014, essentially. So yeah. So that's basically what happened. That, I guess, if anything, that's my story. If that makes sense. So yeah, it's a little sad, but again, generally in terms of like my adoption story and blah 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 blah, it's not. So yeah, so that's essentially a little bit more about me. Because again, it's not really a lot that I don't particularly talk a lot about it with a lot of people, you know what I mean? Only with a few. Like, usually I'll just say I'm adopted, you know what I mean? So that's, yeah. Excuse me. Your mom says, well, at least your mom tried to give you a better life, unlike mine, who was the same thing but worse. Damn. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that it's sad, what alcohol can do to people, you know what I mean? And there's some people who do kind of have that foresight and say, yeah, you know what? I know that what I have is an issue. And the thing is, I don't know if she's ever tried to get help with her alcohol addiction. She probably did. But as far as I'm aware, I don't particularly think that, excuse me, I don't think that, like, as far as I'm aware, or, now, let's put it this way. As far as I'm aware, considering the fact that she did put me up for adoption, she probably either tried getting a lot of help and it didn't necessarily stop her addiction, or she didn't particularly get much. I don't know. All I can say is that, can't believe 2013 was 10 years ago. I know, it's crazy. But yeah, but all I can say is that, like, either way, she still was able to have that foresight to say, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put you up for adoption, so you can have a better life. And so I am forever freaking grateful that she did that, because, and I think, like, honestly, like, a lot more parents, like, if they know that they can't provide for their kids, I think they have to, it's something that they should do. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, it's kind of important to try to be able to provide, like, a good environment for any child, you know what I mean? Whether it's your child or it's not your child, like, you should, because you would want them to, at the very least, like, grow up and be able to have, like, good opportunities, or a good, like, just grow up to be a good person. Because, again, if I was still living with her in that environment and whatnot, I probably would be a way different person. Sometimes I shudder at the thought of how I would turn out. If anything, I don't know if I would even still be here. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of things I kind of think about sometimes when it comes to, like, thinking about, like, hey, what would happen if I didn't leave, or if she didn't put me up for adoption? A whole lot of stuff like that. Yeah. Again, apologize for my voice. Again, I did a lot of singing earlier today, and so I think my voice is kind of, like, just, I think my voice is just a little tired for the most part. So that is also why, I don't have that annoying high-pitched voice that you tend to hear in these videos that I do. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's annoying, but yeah, like, that's kind of why I've been speaking a little lower than usual, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's kind of rare that you guys hear me this low, because even in, like, most of my other streams, I don't talk that low. So again, I think that has to do with the fact that I exerted my voice, not necessarily, you know what, I'm not gonna even say that I really exerted my voice. It's just more so that, again, like, sometimes when you shut up. Josh the Mouse, shut up. God damn it, Alex. But God damn it. Crazy. But yeah, but like like I wouldn't say that, like, I exerted my voice. If anything, it's just, like, again, like, sometimes when you sing a lot, and especially when you're kind of singing some high notes, sometimes your voice does get a little tired, and you can't really speak that high anymore. So yeah, that's kind of the situation there. But yeah. Was there? Yeah, so let's see. Sector Wolf says, "This is why I'm never drinking beer or alcohol, because it is not healthy for me or anyone." Hey, when I was taking health class, right, in high school, that scared me away from ever doing any sort of drinking, any sort of smoking, any of that stuff. Now, have I had, like, a champagne once? Yeah, I have. And that was, like, at a celebratory, kind of like opening night for a show that I was in, like, a few years ago, obviously before the pandemic. And the thing is, I originally thought that it was apple cider. Yeah, I thought it was, like, apple cider. Cause like I did tell them, like, hey, I would like apple cider, but I think, like, because we were trying to get, like, the cheers, up and ready, like, they kind of gave me just a glass, and I was like, okay, so I guess it's apple cider. When I took a sip, it was like, no, this is not apple cider, this is champagne. And I was like, well, it's fine. It tastes okay. I'll drink it. So that was kind of it. And obviously it wasn't enough to get me tipsy or drunk, thankfully, of course. Excuse me, but yeah, like, other than that, and of course, like, there'd be a couple of times, like, say, pina colada. My mom would get, like, a pina colada, and she would, be like, oh, this is really good. You want a sip? And I'll take a sip, and I'll try it, and yeah, it's pretty good. I've had pina coladas, but usually without the alcohol. Like, I never order a pina colada anywhere, like, say, when I've gone to Hawaii, which they make amazing pina coladas over there at the places I've gone. Low voice Joshua. I should do this way more often. I wish this was my regular voice. Kind of. Not really. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just being stupid. But yeah, like usually when I would get, like, pina colada or I think it would be a mojito. Would it be a mojito? I think. Yeah, when we were in Cuba, we would get, like, and that was, like, with the choir. I think it was a mojito, I believe. Let me just double check that, because it might have been something else. But either way, if it was a mojito, obviously it wasn't with alcohol, because of course, when we were, yeah, it was a mojito that we would get sometimes in Cuba, and while we were in Cuba, and of course every single one of us was, like, 18 and younger, right? Because it was a choir for, like, basically people in, like, high school. It wasn't a high school choir, but, like, it was a kids choir, or it was the Los Angeles Children's Chorus, right? And they have, like, different other choirs, and this was, like, the Young Men's Ensemble. So of course, with every one of us being basically, like, 18 or younger. Well, actually, I think at the time I was 19, because I was held back in one year of high school. So I was, like, 18 turning 19 when I graduated. And so that was, like, the last year that I was in the choir, and so that was, like, when we did the tour in Cuba, that was, like, the last thing I've ever done with that choir. But either way, they couldn't serve us, like, a mojito with alcohol in it, so they served us a mojito without the alcohol, and it was still delicious, of course. So yeah, but either way, like, I definitely do not drink at all. Again, health class totally scared me from that. I am staying away from freaking drinking, okay? Not, and I wouldn't want to drink beer either. Beer doesn't smell good to me, and I've never tried it, and I'm not interested in trying any beer at all. I can't imagine beer tasting good. You know what I mean? And also, because of the fact that my birth mother had a excuse me, because she had an addiction to alcohol, I kind of stay away from that, because I don't know if I could pick up on that addiction. You know what I mean? I doubt it, but either way, just to stay on the safe side and a lot of other things, that's kind of also why I just choose to definitely stay away from that. So, Ethan says health class is a perfect example of trying to convince you not to drink or smoke. Yes. Also, when it comes to smoking, I've had a family member, right? After, of course, when we had like the funeral service and everything, I've had a family member, basically stay at the house. Well, I had like 2 family members stay at the house, and they were like siblings of them, right? And one of them was a smoker, and she would smoke a lot. Thankfully, she would be in the backyard. She would not smoke in the house, thank God. But she would smoke in the backyard. When she would come back from smoking, because she would smoke like several packs. I mean, she had like this thing where she would kind of like roll her own cigarettes, right? She would have like the cigarette paper, have the tobacco, kind of put it in there, wrap it up, and then she would kind of put it in a machine that would like fully tighten the cigarettes, right? So she would just have like a bunch of that. She would go out with like 5 or 6 of those at a time in the backyard and just smoke it, right? Kind of listening to some music on her phone and yada, yada, yada. And she would just smell strongly of cigarette smoke. When we would have to be in a car driving with her, oh my God, I couldn't handle that smell. Her coming inside the house, I couldn't handle that smell. It was there when I was like, I cannot live with a smoker. That was, oh my God. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. But that was like one of the worst living situations I've ever had. Ooh, I am never, ever living with anyone that smokes. I can't do it. After that, I can't do it. Holy crap. Like, no. Screw all that mess, bro. That was just not a pleasant experience at all. So yeah. So trust me, like whew. Oh my God. Again, I'm not gonna get into it at all, so that's, yeah. Sector says, don't let tobacco control you. Yo, look, nicotine and tobacco, I think, yeah, that's like a, it's a tough addiction. Again, I know this from her, because again, she would smoke a crap ton. And speaking, and actually, I'm going to read this comment because that's one thing I want to mention here. Mason Wrigley says, that's why I'm seeing many PSAs about tobacco and even PSAs about drugs as well. Speaking of drugs, I saw the one Disney PSA drug bumper on one of my VHS tapes I own. I didn't even know Disney did a PSA. I mean, kind of makes sense, but yeah. But either way, that kind of perfectly goes into the next point that I was going to mention. I remember, like, there was like a CDC, commercial where it had like, you know, showed like a bunch of these people that smoked, and you had like, and you saw like the damage that it did to their health. Like one guy had like a hole in his neck. One of the ladies like kind of was like, you know, she had to put on a wig to prepare for the day, and you saw like she had like she was like, I think in her 40s, and she looked like she was like 60 years old or something. It was crazy. Or some of them, you know the kind of commercials, you most likely saw those on television. I remember when those would air, every single time, she would legitimately just turn away from the television and just walk out. And it was like, damn, you know they're speaking to you, but you just choose not to listen and try to get help when it comes to your smoking. Like, God, it's crazy, you know? But yeah, it's a hell of a drug. It is a long, it's a hard addiction. My mom actually used to be a smoker when she was in high school. She would tell me about this a lot, but she used to be a smoker, like a heavy smoker, right? And she definitely, I think like before she got into college, she stopped smoking, and she's been off that stuff ever since. She's been off it like over 30-40 years or something, so she never went back. And as far as I know, she didn't have any like long-term health complications from smoking, which was honestly a surprise to me, right? Like, I was honestly kind of, and I think it was a surprise to her too, that she didn't have like a very long-term, like, health issues from all the smoking she did when she was in high school. So yeah, she was still doing good in that regard, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, goddamn, trust me. Excuse me. The whole the smoking, man, like, it's one of the things I definitely hate. I am glad that I never got to experience somebody being drunk. Glad I never got to experience anybody being drunk. No. Actually, you know what? Technically, I experienced the aunt that was living with me for like 3 months too long. 3 months too long. I don't want to get into that. But she would drink sometimes, right? Not a lot, but sometimes she would. I remember one time I was coming back from a showing of Mean Girls at the Pantages Theater, and I came back home late, of course, because I was also with the friend to see the show. She wanted to see it because she was hoping to get like tickets, and I think she didn't get tickets in time or something. No. I think she just didn't get tickets, and I had like, because I was a season pass holder at the Pantages Theater, and so I had like tickets available for Mean Girls, and so I, offered the tickets to her, and she said, yeah, let's go together, and we had a great time. And I came back, I got like some Carl's Jr. to come back home to eat, because I didn't eat before I went to the show. And she kind of came over to me a little drunk, and she talked, and I didn't even know she was drunk, but then like she kind of just got a little slightly confrontational and stuff. She was like, oh, you need to open up a little bit more to us. We're your family. Tell us how you feel and whatnot. And like the way that she kind of stared at me and was kind of waiting for me to answer, it was like a very, very awkward tension in the air. I was like, what is going on? It wasn't until like her husband came down and said, told her to go outside, leave me alone. And then he told me like, oh, she gets drunk sometimes. And I'm like, oh, she gets drunk. Okay. Like, and look, mind you, this is not something I'm used to, okay? Because my mom never got drunk. She never smoked, nothing, right? I have never dealt with anybody that would smoke or drink that was in the family, and never. But when I did deal with her smoking and, sometimes drinking and whatnot, it would kind of cause a couple of awkward situations, and so it was, yeah, it was a lot, but yeah, like, I think, Drew says so fetch, yeah, so yeah, it was a whole thing, yeah, so fetch, yeah, the show was a lot of fun, honestly. I didn't intend to see the show, but again, since the friend wanted to see it, I said, hey, you know what, I got tickets, I'll go with you, like, it was a nice, it was cool to be able to hang out and also see a show, because I do love seeing Broadway shows. The last one I saw was Aladdin when it came back to LA, and it was a cheaper production of the tour that they had before. I saw the original tour when it came in 2015, 2016, I think. I forgot what year. But I saw the original tour, and it had like a couple of like original Broadway original cast members in that show. And that was awesome. The production I saw, I think last month, it was a cheaper production, and it was not as good. I'm gonna leave it at that. It wasn't as good. But yeah, I definitely do love seeing Broadway shows, because it's a lot of fun to do that. But yeah, but either way, Mean Girls was a really fun show. It was incredibly fun. Moneyman says, this is the best live stream ever. It's certainly an interesting live stream, because I didn't think I would ever kind of go into depth about, like, I guess, my story. You know what I mean? About, like, oh, this is me, I'm adopted, and this is blah, 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 blah. I don't think I've never done that on a stream like this before. So, yeah, but, it's certainly a interesting, live stream. Let's see here. everyone's mentioning when they were born. Did somebody like ask when everyone's born, or I don't know. But Mason Wrigley was born in 2005, and Scepter was born in 2002. Kawhi born in 2000. All right. And your mom was born in 2008. And Money Man was born in 2009. I wish I could do the math and say I know exactly how old every single one of you are, but I cannot do math that fast. So yeah, I cannot. And that's a random one. Your mom says Darman but non-cringy. Darman but not what is that in reference to? Let me know. But yeah, Darman. The less said about Darman, the better. Okay. Gary the editor says I was born on October 13th, 1997. Hey, wait a minute. It's your birthday? Of course, I already wished you happy birthday earlier, but still happy birthday to you, Gary the editor. Happy 26th birthday. Oh man, they grow up so fast. Oh man, that's crazy. Okay, let's see here. Truth says wanted to ask if you could review Get Along Gang, please. I'm not even sure if I know what the hell that is. Let me look that up. The Get Along Gang. Oh, no. This is literally the first time I've ever heard of the Get Along Gang. And it's a cartoon that came out in 1984. 1984. Oh, your mom says you talking about drugs on the stream and whatnot. Yeah, I guess. You know, that's true. Darman would do this way, way cringier. That's definitely true, isn't it? But yeah, the Get Along Gang. Yeah, I don't think that's probably not something I would check out. I don't think. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if that's something I would check out. So it's most likely not something I'm going to review. You know, I haven't done a lot of reviews in general. You know, I haven't been doing a lot of reviews recently. I've been doing a lot more news kinds of stuff, in terms of say, oh, what's happening on Cartoon Network, and oh, what's happening on Nickelodeon, what's happening in the industry, da 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 da. I've been doing way more with stuff like that. I would like to get back on, I think what was the last thing I reviewed? I feel like the last thing that I reviewed was Marmaduke. I don't think it was, but it feels like that was legitimately the last thing that I ended up reviewing. Again, I don't think it was though, but it just feels like it. But yeah, I want to kind of go back to reviewing some stuff. But I just haven't really, or you know what? I wanted to review, what was it that I wanted to review? I wanted to review, Moon Girl. I just never ever got around to doing that. Yeah, I never got around to doing that. And and I don't know. I feel I think one of the problems I kind of have, you know what I mean, is when it comes to say me wanting to make videos about certain topics, right? Sometimes I feel like if I miss a certain time threshold or something, I don't if that makes sense, it's I don't know. Sometimes I feel like if I miss a certain time threshold, if that makes sense, I feel like I'm too late to talk about certain things. You know, I'm sure I could still make a video about Moon Girl. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like the moment's passed to talk about the show because the first season's already aired. It's already done. So, second season. I don't know when the second season is happening, and hopefully it still is being worked on, because it was left on a pretty big cliffhanger. Which, might I add, right? Because I did a video about cliffhangers, right? Learning from what I know when it comes to learning what I know when it comes to, like, say, how executives in these studios kind of have, like, sometimes a stronghold on the creative process, it makes me realize that it's not necessarily the writers that end things on cliffhangers, right? It usually has to do with, like, what the executives want. The executives may want them to end a season on a cliffhanger. And that's kind of why it's a little... that's why there's a little, what am I trying to say? There's a little, like, issue when it comes to a show having a cliffhanger, and then it gets canceled, i.e., iCarly, right? Now, I wasn't really watching the newer revival of iCarly, like, I wasn't really keeping up with that, but I do know that when it came to, like, the third season, there was a whole thing about, Freddie and iCarly getting together, and, I guess I should say spoiler alert, shouldn't I? I'm sure if you're watching this stream, you probably already know what happens, but basically a certain somebody apparently makes a appearance at the end of season 3. And that was something that a lot of people were excited for. It wasn't Sam, obviously, of course. But yeah, but like excuse me. But when it came to, like, that cliffhanger, a lot of people were excited to be like, oh my god, we're finally gonna know what she looks like. Oh, we're gonna see this person, and da-da-da-da-da. And then Paramount says, nope, it's canceled. Nope, sorry guys, we are not having another season of iCarly. It's done. Over. And it sucks. It's just not... I mean, it sucks that happens, you know what I mean? And again, it's not necessarily the choice of the writers or even, like, the creators to end on a cliffhanger. And you know what? I'm sure sometimes it is. I'm sure sometimes it probably is. But I think a lot of times it probably is, like, the executive saying, hey, yeah, you know what? Let's leave them wanting more, okay? Like write a huge cliffhanger for this season, and they're gonna really want more when it comes to the next season. Oh, this is gonna be great. I'm pretty sure that's probably why they do it. And again, it sucks, you know, that it ended on such a cliffhanger, and no one's gonna be able to see what happens next. Especially now that Freddie and Carly just got together. I'm sure a lot of people were hoping to see more. At the very least, you were able to see them get together, so that's a plus side, I guess. But, you know. Shane says, I hate how streaming services and all these industries get everybody's hopes high up, and then cancel a good show with potential. Absolutely agreed. Like, it really sucks that happens. You know, like, we've been burned way too many damn times. It's crazy. Your mom says, remember when you were like some sort of Nostalgia Critic inspired channel with your review of Agent Fox? Oh my god. Yes, I 100% remember that. I still check out that review sometimes. I'll be honest, like, that is kind of one of my favorite reviews because of just, like, how much effort I put into that one. This was before Alex ever came in to start editing videos for me. So I edited that video all by myself, and that took me, like, freaking 8 hours, I think. But, like, also, I just remembered, like, I was watching the movie while I was in a class at school, and it was a thing that was going on where it was like a certain kind of test that was going on for, like, I think one of the, I think it was either for, like, freshmen or it may have been for the sophomores or something. I don't fully remember, but it was kind of like, it was kind of like a, it was, I kind of needed to stretch a little bit, been sitting here for a while, but, one of our classes had to be like, I think like a couple of hours long, just so they could be able to just do the testing, right? And so of course, because of that, we weren't necessarily learning. Well, I was in an elective class, So there wasn't really much we could do anyway. Hey, Virginia Lake, I'm glad you were able to make it. Hey, Josh, happy Friday. I hope you had a good Friday too, Virginia Lake. Again, very glad to see that you made it. This has been a very interesting stream. you missed me talking about essentially my adoption story. You missed a lot about that, but yeah, either way, I'm glad that you were able to come here. It was kind of a more, I guess you could say, serious stream somewhat. But again, it was definitely a very interesting one. But yeah, going back to it, yeah, but like I was watching, like we were in the class for like, I think 2 hours. It might have been more than 2 hours. While the other people were doing like the test. And I was basically just like watching that movie. I found it on Netflix, right? It was on Netflix, surprisingly. And I just saw like the thumbnail, right? And I was kind of like, okay, you know what? That looks kind of interesting. You got a fox that's a Drew, the true origin story tonight. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, but like it was he had like a fox with some like cool gadget glasses on, and it was behind like a earth that was on fire. He was in front of earth that was on fire and whatnot. And at the time I was like, okay, I'll check this out. It looks interesting. So I watched it. Obviously it was very bad. It was very, 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 very bad. But I couldn't stop watching it. It reminded me of Kung Fu Rabbit when I watched that movie years ago. And that video, my God, that was just me ranting. It was crazy. Virginia Lake says, I will replay it because I would love to hear that story. My mom was adopted as well. Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. Got some more adopted people here. Yeah, I think it was about like maybe 30 minutes ago I was talking about that. So it might have been 45 minutes ago. I'm not sure, but yeah, you could definitely find it somewhere in the stream. So yeah, hope you I guess enjoyed that story. But yeah, but like when I was watching that movie, like instantly I was like, oh man, okay, I 100% have to make a review of this. Because it was like, this movie is so bad, I have to make a review of it. So I just started like writing Kung Fu Rabbit. Is that like a Kung Fu Panda ripoff? Pretty much, yes. I would not recommend watching my old review of Kung Fu Rabbit. I would not recommend it. That video is cringeworthy. It was very cringeworthy, like goodness. But yeah, but like, oh, and Agent Fox can actually be seen for free on YouTube. Yes. Because they're not going to make money off of that movie. So, like, why even charge ads for it? You know what I mean? Excuse me. But, yeah, like, when I was watching that movie, it was just so bad. I just started, like, writing a script. And I kind of basically was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to set it up similar to a Nostalgia Critic kind of film. That was just kind of like my inspiration at the time when I did the Agent Fox, when it came to that Agent Fox video. But yeah, so it was a whole thing. And when it came to like writing the script, I had to watch the movie again. In fact, I think I when I was writing the script, I was kind of like just going through the entire film, like scrolling through. Like there were like certain moments I knew I wanted to talk about, and so I kind of had to watch some of those scenes again so I could like accurately like depict what was going on in the movie while I was writing the script. So it was a whole thing. It was, oh my God. But yeah, it was like one of the craziest videos I think I've ever made by myself, not with Alex, but just by myself, because I never did anything like that before. So I kind of like just really pushed myself to the limit when I did that video. And yeah, like I still watch that video sometimes, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of fun to watch that. It's kind of fun to watch some of my videos back to back. Well, not back to back, but just to watch my videos back. But yeah, so that's kind of Yeah, and you know, and the funny part is that, like, of course, every time I watch the Agent Fox video, I'm always like, damn, there's a couple of things that I could do to make this review better. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish I pointed this out. I wish I was a little bit more sillier. I wish I was a little bit more blah, 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 right? Like, you know, and it's crazy because there's a slight part of me that's kind of like, man, I wish I could do that again. You know, I wish I could remake that video, but why would I do that? That would kind of be stupid. You know what I mean? I already made a review of it. Why would I do another, take on that review video? Like, that just wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people here don't know. You know, there's I've again, I talked about Kung Fu Rabbit a long time ago, like a long time ago. I think it was like, it probably was, you know what, let me look that up. Again, I would recommend that you not watch the video because it's a cringy video. I mean, you know what, but here's the thing. All of my older videos that I've made were cringy as hell, because all it was a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old kid, that was me, basically just picking up a microphone or just recording off of the computer's microphone, and I was just yelling. That's all I was doing. Like, I was just ranting, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like, I didn't write anything. I just went off the cuffs of my head, if that makes sense. Like, I would just speak in my mind, and I was, you know, basically just ranting, you know. And there's a couple of things that I said that were kind of like, oh, yeah, that's not a good taste. But yeah, it was a whole thing. Oh, wow, and somebody made a review of that movie 2 years ago. Wow. I wonder, you know, a part of me would say, I wonder, Northwestern Railway says, oh yeah, I almost forgot when you reviewed that movie back then. Yes. Let's see. When did I make that review? 9 years ago. Jeez, 9 years ago. My God. Yeah. 9 years ago. My goodness, I made that. Christ, that's a long time. But yeah, like that was Kung Fu Rabbit, dude. And also they came up with like a second movie, right? And I ended up making a review of that. And the funny part about it was that the second movie was like so freaking it was much better than the first movie. The first Kung Fu Rabbit movie, garbage. Like, or let's just say it that way. It was garbage, okay? Like, it was terrible. My goodness. But the second movie, which really shocked me, was much better in terms of the voice acting, in terms of the animation, even in terms of the story. Like, it was insane just how much better it was. It wasn't a perfect movie. Like, I think I gave it like a B- or a C when I made a when I made a review of it. But yeah, like it was just kind of surprising to me how much Kung Fu Rabbit 2 was a better movie. So it was crazy. Like, my gosh. But yeah, says your old videos showed the real you, not the censored PG clean you. I'd much rather be clean, you know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of, like, the older videos where, like, because if anything, that's not who I am anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I may still do a little bit of ranting or whatever, but, like, you're not going to catch me yelling like that anymore. That's just not who I am. You know what I mean? Like, that's who I was, because at the same time, like, I was in high school. I was, like, again, 15, 14, 16 years old when I made those videos. And so, which is why, like, when I did the Dora the Explorer rant, like, you know. And also, I was inspired slightly by the likes of, I think his name was Donut 1999 or something, or something like that, and Ben T. Looney. So I definitely just, like, you know, when I saw, like, how they were ranting and stuff, it was like, oh, I can do that. So that's what I was doing, you know? And so I would kind of just yell, essentially. But yeah, I don't do that anymore, thankfully. I mean, I mean, yeah, Drew says you were a kid. Exactly. I'm 27 years old now, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm definitely... I've matured way more, you know, like, I don't want to do that yelling anymore, you know what I mean? Or even, like, the cursing, like, there's a couple of times where I still, like, curse in the videos now. I'm trying to kind of, like, pull back a little bit, I guess, but, you know, so it's kind of, yeah, it's a whole thing, you know, but yeah, that's definitely just, like, not... That's not who I am anymore. That's basically what I'm saying. That was 10 years ago. Well, 9 years ago in terms of that video. Shane says, I'm a sophomore in high school and I'm kind of like that right now, so I get what you mean. Yeah. You know, I mean, again, you still have like a lot of growing to do, you know, and so, you know, and also there's times when, like, say, your opinions on things, like, really change, right? Like, when I was in high school, like, I just hated the idea of Dora the Explorer. I was like, oh my god, why do kids like this? Oh, this is this and that. Like, you saw it in the video. You saw how much I freaking hated Dora in that video. And when I look back at that video, like, oh my god, I am just like, I can't believe that's what I was. You know what I mean? Like, it was freaking crazy to me. I was like, am I really getting that angry over a preschool show? Was that really who I was back then, 10 years ago? It was like, what? You know what I mean? So, Drew says it's natural to curse once in a while, not just while just not make it a personality. Right, like it's definitely not like a personality thing, you know. The past can be real crazy sometimes. But like when I would look back at that, I'm like, I was that angry over Dora. Like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like that's why I think it was like, what, 2 or 3 years ago. That's why I did like a video kind of reacting to that previous Dora the Explorer rant. And I was making fun of myself for it because I was like, oh my god, I was ridiculous in that video. It was the truth. I was ridiculous. But again, excuse me, at the same time, I was young when I made that video. I was like in high school. Again, I was like 13, 14, maybe 12. No, I think I was like 13 or 14 years old when I made that video. And so, of course, like, my way of thinking and my way of expressing myself at the time was definitely different. Now, while I still may not necessarily like the original series, or maybe not the original series, but like, say, the later seasons of the original series, right? It's like, I have like a way different perspective on the show, or it's been like that for a while. It's like, you know, I don't, you know, like, I don't get angry about stuff like that because it's stupid at the end of the day, you know? We're talking about preschool shows, right? Like, it's like, come on. It's so, yeah. But again, at the same time, I was still a young teenager at the time, and that's, you know, and that's kind of just normal. You know, it's normal to have thoughts like that or to have opinions like that. And then when you kind of get older, you start having like different perspective on things and stuff. And so that's kind of just, you know, that's just how it is. You know what I mean? Virginia Lake says, now it's just funny to think back and now you have matured. All good. Exactly. You know, I mean, hey, you know how it is when you are not the same person that you were 10 years ago. Sometimes you're not the same person that you were 5 years ago. Or even in, like, my case, when I was, like, say, a senior, I wasn't the same person I was a year ago. Because, like, when I was a senior, right, that Dora rant is your third most popular video. I know, it's a shame. But, I remember, like, when I was a senior, or, yeah, when I was a senior and kind of, I'd say, like, maybe a month afterwards, like, before, like, again, in my junior year, like, I was definitely depressed, and I did not like myself at all. It was nuts, right? Like, a lot of times I was just, like, not happy with a lot of things, you know what I mean? But then, like, the next year, I was, like, a much more, and I was also very negative as well. Like, I was kind of just, like, very pessimistic, right? But then the next year, I think because of the fact that I had, like, a lot more friends and a lot more, like, things going for me at the time, like, I was just, like, a much happier person. You know what I mean? Like, I was... Virginia Lake, does this mean that in 10 years you will be okay with Moana? Look. With Moana, it's not that I have anything against the movie, okay? I have not seen the movie, so I can't really say anything. Like, I don't have any opinions on the movie at all, right? But when it comes to that song, How Far I'll Go, I've heard it way too many times, okay? Like, when it comes to Disney parks and Disneyland in general, they play that so many freaking times. It's ridiculous. And it's like, I can't hear that freaking song anymore. So, like, when it comes to that song, I can't listen to it anymore. It's not a bad song. It's just, I am so freaking sick and tired of that damn song. The movie, again, I haven't seen it, so I have no idea, like, I have no opinions on the movie necessarily. Am I a little annoyed that they milked the crap out of Moana? Yes. Like how I was annoyed with how much they milked the crap out of Frozen. I'm still annoyed with how they milk Frozen. But, again, it's a whole thing. Yeah, but, like, what was, there was somebody that... Yeah, Shane says, what do you think was the worst year of high school for you? I would probably have to say sophomore year, because there was a certain person that I was friends with, and the less said about that, the better. That it was just a very, very, very uncomfortable situation. That's the most I will say. I don't want to get into it. Like, it's not like it's triggering for me or anything like that. Like, I don't get triggered by anything, to be honest. But like, when it comes to just like what I was put into or what I was put through when it comes to him, right, and like the stuff he's done, it's not something I want to talk about, because I mean, I could talk about it in a comedic way, because I have done it with my friends, and it's kind of like very funny sometimes. Like, I can laugh about it, but again, at the same time, like, at least for this channel, don't want to get into it. It was not good. That's what I can say, is it was not good. It made me very uncomfortable. Yeah. Virginia Lake says, I was singing the Halloween Parade song all morning long from yesterday's live stream. Yeah, in the live stream, like, I was even saying, it was like, hey, this song is not really that great, but at the same time, it's like, it's catchy, so... Yeah, I'm glad that Mondo was able to go to Oogie Boogie Bash yesterday, and I'm sure he was glad too, because he was like, oh, I'm not gonna go to Oogie Boogie Bash, it's not worth it this year, da 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 da. But he went and he had a great time, which I knew that was gonna happen. That was, so it's pretty funny, Your mom says, have you tried reaching out to? Absolutely not. I will not reach out to that guy, okay? Like, we did not end things on good terms. We did not, okay? We ended things on bad terms. First of all, it got so bad that I had to ignore him in order for him to stop doing certain things, right? Because he kept like laughing, and it was this and da 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 da. It was just uncomfortable. And might I add, he was like a high functioning autistic person, and it was I've had like friends who were autistic or who are on the scale have like Asperger's syndrome. So there's this. I have like no issues with people who are autistic and whatnot, and I don't I know how to all that stuff, but he was just pushing boundaries, okay? Let's just say, I will say this, okay? Let's just say he ended up forming a crush on me, and you can go from there. That's all I'm gonna say. You already know to fill the blanks. It didn't get that far, but it was just verging onto uncomfortable. with some of the things he was doing. So, but yeah, but like, let's just say that it got to the point where like at least 3 times 3 times we had to go to the dean. 3 times. And yeah, it was not a good situation, right? It even got so much so to the point where he had to move out of all of my classes, right? It was it was not a good situation, all right? Again, I could tell this story with my friends, and it's something that I can kind of make into a funny situation, because even I laugh about it, you know what I mean? About like certain things, you know what I mean? Because there's kind of some things that are like humorous about it, but in terms of what it did to my senior year, and also kind of what it just did to me slightly mentally, I'd say, it was not great. It was no. So, yeah, I am not going to be checking on him. I'm not holding a grudge against him. Do I forgive him? No. Do I wish the worst for him? Not exactly, except I do kind of take a little solace in the fact that I graduated on time, and literally when one of my friends graduated in like 2017, that guy apparently was still in high school. He was still like in school there. And it was like, wait, so even 2 years after I graduated, he still didn't graduate? I was like, what? And the crazy part about this is that, like, sometimes he would, because I didn't do the greatest in terms of like, say, grades, right? When I was in, the first grade, what? When I was in, freshman year and sophomore year, I didn't do the greatest in terms of grades, but I was still able to graduate on time, which was, of course, awesome. But, like, sometimes, like, you know, he would be doing better than me in those 2 years, right? In terms of, what am I trying to say? In terms of, grades, right? But, and sometimes he would kind of make fun of me or tease me a little bit. You know, he'd be like, haha, I am smarter than you. You know what I mean? He did that sometimes, which I didn't get bothered by. I knew he was teasing, he was being silly, and yada, yada, yada. And again, it sucks because we were like good friends, you know? That's the thing that kind of sucked about this, is that we were good friends, but he just went a little too far, and it didn't end well. Oh, and also he broke one of my glasses out of anger once, and that also kind of got him kicked out of all of my classes. So, yeah. But, yeah, it was ironic about the fact that he would kind of make fun of me, you know, sometimes, or tease me about the fact that he's smarter than I am, but I graduated on time. And again, 2 years, actually, it might have been 3 years after I graduated, he was still at that high school. He still was attending that high school. He didn't graduate. And it was like, so I don't know. So for me, I'm kind of like, hey, that's my payback. I got out of high school on time. You still had to be there 3 years afterwards. You're a failure, bro. Okay? You're a goddamn failure. So that's... You know what I mean? Yeah, so, again, I can't say I'm holding a grudge, but at the same time, I want nothing to do with him. And also, I know for a fact that if I were to see him again, I probably would have a little bit of an anxiety attack. Because I remember, like, when I was I was going into, my senior year, and I was going into, like, my history class. Or was it what? No, it was economics. No, it was American history, and then we did economics in the second semester. Rest in peace to that teacher. She was the best freaking history teacher. In fact, I think she was the best teacher I had in any school. Like, she was just incredible. But, like, I remember going into my classroom, and I'm just finding a place to sit. I see him walking inside of the classroom, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. He's not supposed to be in any of my classes. What's going on? Right? Like, I was like, he is not supposed to be in any of my classes. There's a reason why he wasn't in any of my classes in the 10th grade, or part of that 10th grade, and in the 11th grade because of what happened. But they put him into one of my classes, and I remember when he came in, my heart started racing because I was legitimately scared. Because it was like, okay, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? I didn't know if he was gonna try to talk to me, if he was gonna try to confront me or anything like that. I did not want any of that BS that was gonna happen. Cause, yeah, so it was bad. So again, if I were to probably see him today, right, I would be freaking out. I can tell you that much, right? Because again, it was just like a very freaking uncomfortable scenario. So it was not a great situation. So yes, that was the worst year of high school. Not senior year, but 10th grade. So it was, yeah. Okay, so we are right now, we just hit 2 hours. Jeez, my God. So yeah, so I think I'm going to essentially end it here because I would like to make me some dinner. Maybe like another 5-10 minutes, possibly, maybe less than that. If there's any like other questions you have or any topics or whatever, let me know. And if not, we'll end it pretty soon. Dorothy, goodness, yeah. Virginia Lake says, so sorry, Josh, that is such a horrible situation. Oh, it was. Again, I can kind of like essentially just like kind of talk about it in a comedic way, but it's again like specifically for this stream, I don't want to get into that stuff, you know, because it's not necessarily appropriate. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he was beating me up or anything. No, it wasn't that. It was something else. And again, very uncomfortable, you know? Nah. You know what? The one thing that I will say, and I think you'll know where the uncomfortableness was, is he definitely, more than one occasion tried kissing me. That's as far as I can go with that. So, yes, that happened. So, you can imagine, okay, I was not up for that. So, yeah, like, it was, and again, he's done a couple of things that were definitely worse that really made me say, okay, F this guy, I'm not talking to you no more. I've told you multiple times to stop. Get the F out of my face, bro. Okay, so, yeah, but it's, yeah, so, yeah, that's, yeah. So, again, was not a great situation at all, for my sophomore year, no. But yeah, that was the only thing in high school that seriously screwed me up, right? Your mom says cheeks or on the lips. He did it once on the cheek, multiple times tried on the lips. Of course, every single time I pulled back. And yeah, but yeah. Thank God it never made contact. Christ, I would have definitely fucking, oops. Damn it, I didn't mean to, okay, well, there you go. Wow, but yeah, okay, so kind of got real for a second, but yeah, I tried not to cuss like that, but it is what it is. But yeah, but like, if that were to have happened, I would have freaking decked him in the face, okay? He had a big nose, so I would not have missed. Let's just say that. But yeah, but like that, again, but that was like the only thing that like really kind of just screwed me up, essentially, when it came to high school. Other than that, like, my high school years was pretty good. Again, first year, I didn't do great in terms of, like, my grades and whatnot. But when it came to, like, my junior and senior year, I'd say those were, like, the best years. And, I'd say junior year, because, again, I'd say senior year, because in junior year, right, I was just, like, again, depressed, not happy with myself, yada, yada, yada. But senior year, well, but also in junior year, I was in, like, the school play, you know, so that was, like, kind of a highlight of that year. But then also in junior year, I was, junior year, senior year, I was also in 2 plays. And I had a lot more friends that year as well. So, like, I was already, like, just way happier in terms of, like, just how things were. You know what I mean? So yeah. So, yeah. You guys are seriously, if you guys stayed in this stream for so long, you literally saw a side or heard the side of Josh you've never really ever seen before. Like in terms of, like, again, my adoption story and then my freaking story in, like, high school with that guy and everything. Like, it's damn. You know what I mean? Like, I did not expect this stream to go this way. Oh man, I was not expecting that at all. But, like, we just got freaking deep in this damn stream. Yeah, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, this is when I'm talking on the stream, you're talking to the real me. You know what I mean? You're not talking to Sky the Bun on Regularjosh1. You know what I mean? You're talking to this guy. You're seeing this face. Unfortunately, you are seeing this face, okay? Oh my god. Oh, you know, okay. Shane says, I'm glad I'm no longer a freshman. Yeah, what year in high school are you in? Are you still in high school? Let me know what year you're in. Northwestern Railway says, hoping he's at least a changed person these days, but yikes, man. Yeah, you know, I'm hoping so too. Like, I'll be honest, like, I hope that he is definitely a better person, you know what I mean? Because, again, this was about almost 10 years ago, right? No, this was over 10 years ago, so I'm sure he's changed, but apparently, you know, he was always kind of like the weird guy. Essentially, I remember there was, like, another friend that was in high school that I went to, that I was friends with there, and he apparently attended the same middle school as that guy did, and he was like, yeah, this dude's like a complete weirdo and whatever, and it was kind of like, okay, so I guess it's, you know, so, yeah, who knows? Again, he was, like, high-functioning autism, you know, has high-functioning autism and whatnot, so yeah, who knows if he's gotten better or if he's still the same or whatever. I have absolutely no idea. But yeah, that's the most that I can say is, like, yeah, I at least hope that he's better as a person. You know what I mean? I would still much rather I never see him again. But yeah, so there you go in that regard. Your mom says, yeah, I thought we were just going to talk about animation news like usual or Disneyland like usual because somehow we always talk about, like, theme parks as well. But we got this deep. Yeah! Like, again, I was not expecting that at all. But hey, you know, honestly, it's not bad that we kind of went there. I'll be honest. Like, this is probably the realest or the deepest you'll ever see, if that makes sense. Teen Titans Go is premiering the Warner Brothers 100th anniversary tomorrow. Yeah, finally. I mean, I'm not gonna watch it, but, like, finally they're gonna air it tomorrow. Yeah, because for whatever reason, like, they just weren't. I don't know why, but, like, they delayed it, like, twice, I think, for some strange reason. Well, one of the things that they did was, I think there was, like, some sort of issue where they used, like, a drawing of Ed, right? And apparently, I guess it was kind of plagiarized by a, that drawing in that shot was like a plagiarized drawing of somebody else's fan art drawing of Ed from DeviantArt or something like that. And so, because of that, I think they also ended up, like, changing that particular Ed model. Or not model, but just that drawing of Ed, if that makes sense. So, I did notice that, so it's kind of, you know, that's kind of like the situation there, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of, so I'm guessing that's why they delayed the Teen Titans Go 100th anniversary special. Again, am I gonna check it out? Nope, absolutely not. But yeah, but that it's been interesting. Northwestern Railway says this was interesting to say the least. Yes, it was. yes, it was. My God. Again, I'm getting some last comments here in. Dorothy, the UI fanatic says Kif is godly. I enjoy Kif, definitely. I've been watching the show. I'd say like all of the animated shows on Disney Channel are pretty good. Besides Miraculous Ladybug. That one, I can watch that show, but my god, is it stupid. I can't, I've talked about it before on another stream. I don't want to talk about it again. But Miraculous Ladybug is something else. Like, again, it is a watchable show, but at the same time, like, it's something else. That's the most that I can say right now. Shane says, I'm a sophomore, and something I'm happy about is I can now laugh and roast the new freshman. Hey, you know what? That's kind of that's part of the high school culture, you know what I mean? Like, when you're a freshman, you're like, why does everybody hate freshmen? And then you're like a freaking senior, and you're like, oh god, the freshmen. Oh, we hate them. You know what I mean? It's just high school culture. I don't know why we do it, but that's what it is. You know what I mean? Let's see. Quiet says Miraculous really got worse. It's I can only watch seasons 1 and 2 and stop there. I don't think I could watch. I mean, again, as I said, it is watchable to me, but at the same time, it's stupid. Like, it is freaking stupid. My god. Northwestern Railway says Chowder's patterns also were tweaked a bit too. Oh, okay. I didn't even... That's right. I completely forgot that there was an issue with Chowder's patterns in that animation as well. So they fixed a couple of things. Okay, that's why it was delayed. Okay, how interesting. Yeah. Shane says, like, literally on the first day of school this year, one of the first things I said to my friends in the morning was, imagine being a freshman. Oh my god. Again, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, we're just like, and you know what? Maybe part of it is because they're coming from middle school. It's crazy how, like, when I was in my senior year and I was looking at the freshmen, I'm like, some of these people look like they can still be in the 5th grade. Like, it was crazy. There was like literally a couple of people that were in their freshman year, right? And they looked like they could be in elementary school. I was like, what? Are you on the right campus? It was like, he was fairly small, but again, he looked very young. In fact, I think he was still like, carrying around like those he wasn't wearing a backpack. He was wearing like those rollaway book bags or something. And I'm like, yo, are you sure you're at the right campus? This is high school. I was like, wait a minute. It was crazy. Like, I was like, wow. Yeah, freshmen now looks like little kids. Yeah, it's crazy how that is. Because like, yeah, like it's crazy to me. Like, when you're much younger and you see freshmen, or, you know, like, say if you have like a brother or sister and they're going into high school, you probably think like, oh man, they look so like grown up and da 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 da. But then like when you get to that age or you get older and you see freshmen, like they all look so young. It's like, that's crazy to me. It's nuts. Yeah. It's kind of interesting when it comes to that. Yeah, but you know what? I think that is going to be it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Drew says schools are such a strange place. They are, absolutely. I am so glad that I am not in school anymore. Like that, like, I didn't hate high school, but at the same time, like, I'm just glad to not be in that environment anymore. Like, when you no longer have to do school anymore, that is a blessing. Like, trust me. So anyone that is still in high school, or even if you're in middle school right now, those years when you are going to, like, when you fully graduate and you don't do school anymore, like, you are just, you are much happier. You're like, thank God. Sometimes you look back and you're like, man, I wish I could go back to those days, hanging out with the friends and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But a lot of times you're kind of like, just thank God I don't have to do school anymore. That's just, golly. Yeah. But Mason Ringley says, I had fun tonight. I had a lot of fun too. Like, yeah, today, again, it was a very, like, interesting stream considering the fact, like, where we went and what we were talking about. But yeah, like, it was definitely, excuse me. Yeah, my voice is definitely about to, I definitely need to stop talking. But yeah, but it's, yeah, it's definitely been like a pretty cool, it's been a cool stream. It's been like a chill stream, you know, even though we were talking about like some things you don't know about me in terms of me being adopted and that crazy guy from school. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It definitely has been a pretty fun stream. Northwestern Railway says, I never liked Miraculous. Yeah, I can't blame you for that one. Like, I definitely cannot blame you at all for that one at all. But I am going to have to head on out. I'm going to make me some dinner as of right now. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining the stream, especially if you are in the West, not in the West, if you're in the Eastern, time zone and it's like 11 o'clock for you right now. Like, damn. I did not think it was going to be that late. I wasn't expecting to start the stream as late as I did. Like, I wanted to start it at like 4:30, but I just had some stuff that I needed to take care of before I did anything. But again, thank you guys so much for joining the stream. Like, it's of course very awesome to have you a part of the stream. Again, hopefully next week I can have a video come out. It might be 2 videos and it might just be 1 video. I'm not exactly 100% sure when it comes to that. But it all really depends. We'll see what happens in that regard. But yeah, let me say my goodbyes to everybody, who are still in here right now. So, Gillian, Moneyman, oh yes, and, happy birthday again to Gary the editor, 26 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, thank you guys so much for the, birthday wishes to him. That means a lot to him, of course. So yeah, Shane, Moneyman, Gillian, your mom, Kawhi, Mason, Moneyman, 101, Jonathan, Drew, Juan, Chandler, Kawhi, Twin Meal. Twin Meal is 8 p.m. for you, so you're on the same time zone as I am. Let's see. Who else? Virginia Lake. Have a nice dinner, Josh. Going hiking on Sunday, so hopefully I will be back in time for a Speculation Sunday. Have a great weekend, Josh, and everyone. Thank you again. Of course, it's always awesome to have you in the live streams. I love chatting with you, especially in this stream and in Speculation Sunday. So yeah, I hope you have a great hike on Sunday, and hopefully you can make it back to the stream as well. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Northwestern Railway, and yeah. So again, Virginia Lake, hope to see you next Sunday. This Sunday, and have a good hike. I gotta go back to doing some hiking as well. Oh yeah, dude. See you guys later. Yeah. So I think I said about goodbye to everybody. So. Josh Var, yeah, damn, you joined late. So sorry about that, but thank you for joining the stream regardless. And, yeah, you can watch it back if you want to. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that it will be it for me. So I will be heading on out. Hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, or have a good night. Have a good weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Saturday and Sunday, let's have a good one. And hopefully you guys have a good next week. And again, maybe expect a video next week as well. All really depends. But yeah, we'll see. But again, until next time, you're hearing it from a regular bunny in a regular world. Thank you guys so much for joining in the stream. Peace out. And as always, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Take care.